Chosen one, something just shattered in the spiritual realm. Picture this scene from those powerful anime moments when the protagonist suddenly realizes the truth and their eyes go impossibly wide. That exact expression is frozen on somebody's face right now. Somebody connected to your life, somebody who thought they had you figured out. They just discovered something about you that has rocked them to their core. This message finds you at a pivotal moment. Forces that have been working against you in the shadows have finally received their answer, and that answer is you, standing, shining, completely unbroken. What they're witnessing right now has left them genuinely frightened, not nervous, not uncomfortable, frightened, because they finally understand what you actually are. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. The very schemes designed to diminish you have instead revealed something extraordinary about your nature, something otherworldly, something mystical, something they cannot explain away or rationalize, and now they have to sit with that terrifying realization. By the time we reach the end of this message, you will understand exactly why certain people have been so desperate to contain you, why their efforts have spectacularly failed, and why your brightest chapter is literally unfolding as these words reach your spirit. But more than that, you'll understand why the universe has been setting up this moment for longer than you realize. Every delay, every obstacle, every confusing setback, it was all positioning you for a revelation that would shake the very people who underestimated you. Think of yourself as a lighthouse that somebody tried to cover with a thin cloth. They thought the fabric would contain the beam. Instead, the light burned straight through and now shines brighter than ever before. That's your energy right now. Unstoppable, undeniable, blinding to those who preferred you dim. Let me take you back to where this began. There was a time when certain people looked at you and saw opportunity, not opportunity to celebrate you, opportunity to extract from you. They recognized your light before you fully recognized it yourself. That golden quality radiating from your being, that magnetic pull that drew blessings and favor your way. They wanted it. So they made a decision. A calculated, deliberate decision to try and take what was never theirs to possess. This wasn't casual jealousy, this wasn't passing envy, this was an organized attempt to redirect your destiny into their own hands, to swap places with you energetically, to steal the inheritance that the universe had already assigned your name. What they didn't know then, and what they're learning now in the most painful way possible, is that golden light cannot be transferred through theft. It cannot be redirected through manipulation. It cannot be possessed by anyone other than its rightful carrier. And chosen one, you are that carrier. You always have been. The paperwork was signed in dimensions they cannot access. The deed was recorded in realms their schemes cannot reach. Maybe you felt it, those seasons when everything seemed heavier than it should have been, when your motivation dried up without explanation, when opportunities that seemed certain suddenly evaporated, when your body felt exhausted despite adequate rest, when your mind cycled through confusion and doubt for no apparent reason. That wasn't random. That wasn't just life being difficult. That was interference. Intentional, targeted interference from someone who believed they could shake your foundation loose enough to claim what sits upon it. They went after your sense of safety, your feeling of security, your confidence in your own identity. They wanted to uproot everything that anchored you to your purpose, make you question your worth, make you forget your power, make you small enough to contain. And chosen one, I need you to really hear this next part. The level of energy they invested in trying to diminish you tells you everything about how magnificent you actually are. Nobody wastes ammunition on targets that don't matter. Nobody builds elaborate schemes to take down someone who poses no threat to their ego. The very existence of their attack against you is proof of your significance. Listen to that again. Let it settle into your bones. The effort they expended trying to bind you reveals exactly how powerful they knew you were, even when you didn't fully know it yourself. Here's something else they miscalculated. They assumed your power source was finite. They imagined your energy operated like a battery they could drain. What they didn't understand is that you're connected to something infinite, something that replenishes faster than they could ever deplete. Every time they tried to tap into your reserves, more flowed in from sources they couldn't even see. They were trying to empty an ocean with a teaspoon. But here's where the story takes its most dramatic turn. Everything they attempted has completely collapsed. Spectacularly, totally, too irreversibly. The spiritual operation they conducted against you has blown up in their face with a force they never anticipated. Picture a tank firing at a target. The shell leaves the barrel with explosive force aimed directly at destruction. Now imagine that shell hitting an invisible barrier and reversing course at double speed straight back toward the tank itself. That's what just happened in the spiritual realm concerning you. What they sent your way has returned to them, multiplied. And the crater they imagined would be where you once stood. It's positioned directly in the center of their own life now, smoking, smoldering, impossible to hide. This is why I said somebody's eyes have gone wide with horrified realization. They're not looking at your downfall, they're staring at their own. The very weapons formed against you became the instruments of their own undoing. Not because you retaliated, not because you even knew what was happening, simply because universal law operates with precision that human schemes cannot outsmart. Let me paint the picture of what your adversary is experiencing right now. Imagine someone walking around with a personal storm cloud hovering directly above their head. Everywhere they go, everything they do, that dark cloud follows, raining specifically on them, nobody else, just them. Their health has taken hits they can't explain. Their luck has completely dried up. Relationships are crumbling around them. Financial pressures are mounting. Sleep doesn't come easily anymore. And worst of all, they can see you across the distance, absolutely glowing, radiant, golden. The comparison is destroying them internally. They expected you to be gone by now, removed from the picture, diminished beyond recognition. Instead, you're thriving, and every blessing that lands in your life feels like a personal assault on their failed agenda. I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to reveal because this detail matters. This person has physical signs now, visible evidence of what they attempted. Maybe it shows in their face, in their skin, in their energy that others can perceive. Cold sores appearing without explanation, a sallowness that won't lift, an exhaustion that sleep doesn't cure. They tried to take your vitality, and in the process they drained their own beyond recovery. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They're frightened because their entire worldview has been shattered. They genuinely believed they could manipulate spiritual forces to work against you. They thought certain rituals or practices or focused negative energy could bind your potential. They were convinced that concentrated effort could redirect your blessings into their possession. And now they're confronted with evidence that you're something different, something beyond their understanding, something otherworldly. The normal rules they thought governed spiritual warfare apparently don't apply to you, and they have absolutely no idea what to do with that information. Remember that anime image we started with, the protagonist whose eyes go impossibly wide? There's a second part to those scenes that's relevant here. After the initial shock, there's usually a moment where the antagonist realizes they've awakened something they cannot control, something that was dormant but is now fully activated. That's the stage we're in now. Your adversary isn't just surprised. They're watching you transform into something they never prepared to face. There's a legacy attached to your name, something generational, something that carries weight across time itself. This legacy involves more than just material inheritance, though that component certainly exists. It's also about spiritual authority, about ancestral blessing, about a golden thread of favor that runs through your bloodline and has chosen you as its current carrier. Someone in your lineage is watching what's unfolding with immense pride. Whether that's a grandparent who has transitioned to the other side, an ancestor you never met in the physical realm, or a spiritual guardian assigned to your journey from the very beginning, they're witnessing you surpass obstacles they may have only dreamed of conquering themselves. The dreams they held in their hearts that never materialized in their lifetimes, those seeds didn't die. They were planted into the soil of your potential. What they could only imagine, you are literally living. The daydreams of previous generations are manifesting as your daily reality. There's an image coming through strongly right now. Picture those powerful scenes where someone is reaching their full potential. Energetically, spiritually, maybe even magically, they rise into the air. Light gathers around them, then suddenly bursts forth in every direction. Head tilted back, arms spread wide, pure radiance exploding outward. That's what's happening to you right now on a spiritual level. That's what your enemies are witnessing, and it's absolutely terrifying them. And this is precisely what has certain people absolutely terrified. They recognize that something supernatural is operating on your behalf, something with ancient roots and cosmic reach, something that transforms every attack against you into acceleration toward your destiny. Let me address the identity of this adversary more directly. There's a strong probability this person shares connection to your family line or was once considered close enough to be family. They might be blood relation, sibling, cousin, aunt or uncle, or perhaps someone adopted into your family circle who felt entitled to familial benefits. There's an age dynamic present, someone older comparing themselves to someone younger, or possibly the reverse, someone younger resenting the path that someone older has walked. Either way, the comparison has been happening for a long time, festering, growing more toxic with each passing season. This person looked at you and saw the golden child, not because you demanded that title, not because you positioned yourself above them, simply because of how favor naturally gravitated toward you, how things seemed to work out in your direction, how light seemed to follow you even through your darkest valleys. Their jealousy transformed into obsession, their envy hardened into hatred, and eventually they convinced themselves that taking action against you was justified, maybe even necessary for their own survival. In their distorted perception, your success represented their failure, your blessings highlighted their lack, your golden glow cast shadows on their own life. There's also a small town energy here, maybe literally, maybe metaphorically, someone with limited perspective looking at your expansion with resentment. Perhaps you're the one who got away, the one who refused to stay small when everyone around you accepted limitation, the one who dared to dream beyond the boundaries that others treated as permanent, so they tried to take it, through spiritual manipulation, through energetic attacks, through whatever methods they believed would transfer your light into their possession. They genuinely thought they could become the golden one by eliminating the competition, but chosen one. Light doesn't work that way. Golden energy cannot be stolen. Destiny cannot be transferred through theft. What's assigned to your soul is coded to your specific signature. Another person trying to claim it is like someone trying to wear your fingerprints. It simply doesn't fit. Here's something crucial about the nature of this attack. This person didn't just act alone. They sought counsel, maybe from someone claiming psychic ability, maybe from entities or energies they probably shouldn't have been communicating with. They received instructions on how to bind you, how to take your golden light, how to remove you from the equation, and whoever or whatever gave them that advice was wrong, spectacularly wrong, because they didn't see you for who you actually are. They assessed you based on outdated information, on who you used to be, rather than who you've become, on the container you once occupied, rather than the expanded vessel you now embody. I want you to recognize the profound protection that has been operating in your life, even when you didn't know attacks were incoming, even when you felt confused about why certain seasons were so difficult, even when you wondered if the universe had forgotten your address. The whole time, an invisible shield was deflecting strikes you never saw coming. There were moments you should have been taken out, situations that seemed designed for your destruction, circumstances engineered specifically to remove you from the game, and somehow, inexplicably, you survived every single one, not through luck, through divine arrangement. The forces of highest light aligned with your journey, recognized the assignment on your life before you did. They watched over you, guided you, protected you, deflected arrows aimed at your back, closed doors that would have led to destruction, opened windows when every door slammed shut. Think about this for a moment. The very entities or energies that your adversary tried to enlist against you, some of them refused the assignment, some of them recognized what you carry and said no. Some of them looked at the golden thread woven through your existence and knew better than to interfere with something that bears marks of divine authority. And now, as you step into this next chapter, that protection is more evident than ever. The very person who tried to harm you is now living in fear of what your spiritual team might do in response. They're paranoid, looking over their shoulder constantly, waiting for retaliation that they've convinced themselves must be coming. Here's the beautiful irony they don't understand. Retaliation isn't even necessary. The universe handles its own accounts with mathematical precision. Every action generates equal reaction. Every seed planted eventually produces harvest. The negative energy they directed at you has simply returned to its original sender. This is divine justice operating without your involvement. No need for you to lower yourself into their energy by seeking revenge. No requirement that you spend precious life force plotting their downfall. The system itself ensures balance. And right now, that balance is correcting years of imbalance that they created through their choices. Speaking of corrections, let me tell you what the universe is actively doing to this person. They angered forces they should have left alone. Not just you, not just your ancestors, something higher, something with authority over the very laws of cause and effect. And now that authority is executing judgment without your input or participation. Someone received warnings before this all unfolded, perhaps from a person with genuine spiritual insight who told them directly, do not go after this one. Do not attempt what you're planning. The consequences will devastate you far more than any potential gain could justify. They didn't listen. Arrogance overrode wisdom. Desperation silenced caution. And now they're living the exact future they were warned about, wondering why they didn't heed the obvious signs. There's chaos swirling around their existence now. Legal troubles possibly, financial disasters certainly, health challenges multiplying, relationships fracturing. Their world is fragmenting in multiple directions simultaneously, and unlike you, they have no divine protection, absorbing the impact. They're taking every hit directly. I'm hearing something specific about legal involvement, documents being ignored, letters piling up, contractors or people they've wronged coming forward to demand what's owed. There's an energy of someone hiding from their mailbox, refusing to answer certain calls, pretending they don't see the warning signs of a system closing in on them. People who once supported their schemes have begun distancing themselves. Nobody wants to be associated with someone carrying that much spiritual debt. The friends who once entertained their jealous rants are now uncomfortable being in the same room. Family members who perhaps initially sympathized are now expressing open disappointment. And this disappointment isn't quiet. It's vocal, direct, confrontational even. Family members have literally said the words, "Enough is enough." They've recognized that this person went too far, crossed lines that shouldn't have been crossed, attacked someone who didn't deserve what was sent their way. And they're withdrawing support in ways that leave this person increasingly isolated. The isolation is crushing them. And in their loneliest moments they look across at you and see community forming, see blessings multiplying, see golden light intensifying. The contrast between your ascending trajectory and their descending spiral has become impossible to ignore. There's a lesson this person was supposed to learn, a pattern they were supposed to break. Instead of facing their shadow honestly, instead of seeking help for the jealousy and envy eating them alive, they chose to act out. They chose to go it alone. They chose to believe they could handle spiritual warfare without support or guidance. And that isolation has become a prison of their own making. The cycle they're trapped in now isn't new, it's ancient, it's something that has repeated through their lifetimes, an unlearned lesson that keeps presenting itself in different forms. And each time they choose to attack rather than heal, the consequences compound. What they're experiencing now isn't just the result of what they did to you, it's accumulated interest on generations of spiritual debt. I want to speak now about what's coming toward you, because this message isn't just about what's been blocked, it's about what's being released. The dam that was holding back your overflow, massive cracks have appeared. What was delayed is being expedited. What was stolen is being returned with interest. There's material blessing coming, property perhaps, inheritance definitely, financial increase from directions you hadn't anticipated. The universe is making up for lost time, and the same legacy that your adversary tried to steal is flowing toward you with momentum that cannot be stopped. Listen closely to this part. The very thing they were trying to prevent is exactly what accelerating toward you now. Property coming into your possession. Money or inheritance finding its way to your hands. The sale of something. The resolution of something. A legal matter that concludes in your favor. A family wish that finally comes true. This isn't coincidence. This is correction. The universe saw the attempt to divert your blessings and responded by doubling down on the original plan. What was meant to be yours will be yours, and those who try to intercept it will watch from their place of lack as you receive what they coveted. But more than material provision, there's spiritual upgrade coming. Your intuition is sharpening. Your discernment is clarifying. Your connection to divine guidance is strengthening. The gifts that have always been present within you are activating at higher levels than ever before. Some of you have been receiving downloads lately, information arriving in your consciousness that you didn't seek through typical channels, insights about your path, revelation about your purpose, clarity about decisions that once seemed impossible to navigate. This is your calling crystallizing. This is your purpose becoming undeniable. You're connecting to something now that's bringing specific awareness, specific direction, specific understanding that feels like it's being handed to you from somewhere beyond ordinary perception. This is your mystical nature awakening to its full potential. The very quality that terrifies those who oppose you is the same quality that qualifies you for what's ahead. Being otherworldly isn't a burden, it's an advantage. And you're only beginning to understand just how advantageous it actually is. Think about what it means that someone perceived you as a mystical being. They recognize something in you that transcends ordinary human limitation, something that connects you to power sources they cannot access, something that marks you as different in the most significant possible way. That perception is accurate. Accept it. Own it. Stop minimizing what you carry. The golden energy isn't imagination, it's reality. The light that streams from your being isn't metaphor, it's measurable to those with eyes to see. The otherworldly quality that frightens your enemies is the same quality that attracts your destiny. There's a song that keeps coming through, something about being golden, about refusing to submit, refusing to become smaller, refusing to dim your light for others. Maybe you've tried to fit in with how everyone else operates. Maybe you've attempted to follow paths that were never designed for your unique nature. That season is ending. Golden is your frequency now, not trying to match the muted tones around you, not apologizing for the brightness that makes others uncomfortable, just shining at your natural intensity and letting everyone else adjust. Let me speak directly to any lingering fear in your heart right now, any remaining anxiety about what certain people might still try to do, any worry that persists about future attacks or schemes or traps being set. Those fears can rest now. What needed to be proven has been proven. The containment that was attempted has already failed. The binding that was executed has already broken. And the person who launched those attacks is now too busy dealing with their own catastrophic consequences to mount any new offensive. They're rethinking everything right now, sitting in defeat like someone who fired their best shot and watched it accomplish nothing. Their face doesn't carry the expression of someone planning their next move. It carries the expression of someone who realizes they've lost completely. 5 of Cups energy, 5 of Pentacles energy. Ruin and destitution settling into their reality while they process what went wrong. Their power over your life is finished. Whatever authority they once exercised through fear or manipulation or spiritual interference has been completely revoked. The season of their influence has ended. The chapter of their impact on your story has closed. Someone may even be facing imprisonment, not just metaphorically, possibly literally. The phrase "going away for a long time" keeps surfacing. Whether this means physical incarceration or a different kind of removal from your sphere of existence, the outcome is the same. They're exiting stage left. And their exit is not voluntary. What remains now is your unobstructed path toward everything that was always meant for you. Every blessing that was delayed, every opportunity that was blocked, every connection that was prevented, all of it is now clear for landing. Walk forward without looking back. Move into your future without dragging the weight of what they tried to do. The past served its purpose by revealing both your enemies and your extraordinary resilience. Now let it rest where it belongs, behind you. I know there were moments when you wondered if you were crazy, when the attacks felt so heavy that you questioned whether you were imagining things, when people around you couldn't see what you were sensing, when you felt completely alone in a battle that nobody else acknowledged. Let this message validate what you knew all along. The attacks were real, the interference was genuine, the opposition was coordinated and intentional, and your survival through all of it wasn't luck or coincidence. It was destiny refusing to be denied. Trust yourself more. Your instincts have been accurate. Your gut feelings have been reliable. Your discernment has been sharper than you gave it credit for. When something felt wrong, it was wrong. When someone felt unsafe, they were unsafe. When situations felt engineered for your harm, that engineering was real. But now you move forward with evidence that your spiritual perception operates at a higher level than those around you often recognize. You can trust the inner knowing that guides you. You can rely on the subtle warnings that rise within your awareness. You can follow the quiet guidance that others might dismiss as imagination, because you're not operating with ordinary equipment. The mystical nature that frightens your enemies also gifts you with insight that ordinary perception cannot access. Use it, lean into it, let it guide you toward the golden chapter that's unfolding. Here's the circular nature of what's happened. Remember how we began. Someone's eyes going wide with horrified realization. That image contains both ending and beginning wrapped together. The ending of their schemes, the beginning of your unlimited expansion. Their horror marks the conclusion of a chapter where they held any influence over your journey. And simultaneously, it marks the opening of a chapter where you step fully into awareness of your own power. The very thing they feared most has come to pass. They failed to conquer you. They failed to contain you. They failed to steal your golden energy. And in that failure, they exposed themselves to consequences they never anticipated facing. While they sit in ruins of their own creation, you rise, not arrogantly, not vengefully, simply inevitably. Because rising is what you were designed to do. Because shining is your natural state. Because golden is your authentic frequency. The ancestors who watch over you are celebrating right now. They see the obstacles you've overcome. They witness the attacks you've survived. They observe the legacy continuing through you in ways they could only dream about in their own lifetimes. And they are proud beyond measure. You represent possibility to them, proof that the family line can produce something extraordinary. Evidence that generational patterns of limitation can be broken. Demonstration that golden light can emerge even from backgrounds marked by struggle. There's something being passed to you right now, circulating down through the lineage, through time itself, an inheritance that transcends money or property. Though those things are included, its authority, its blessing, it's the accumulated favor of generations finally finding its rightful recipient. Carry that awareness with you, not as pressure, as privilege. You get to be the one through whom dreams finally manifest. You get to be the vessel through whom blessings finally flow. You get to be the chosen one, who didn't break under pressure, that was specifically designed to break you. There's victory coming in endeavors you've been working toward. Things you've invested energy into are about to produce returns. Projects that seemed stalled are about to move. Situations that felt stuck are about to shift. The universe is releasing a flood of favorable outcomes in your direction. So let's speak finally about who you actually are. Beyond what others have labeled you, beyond what circumstances have suggested, beyond what enemies have accused, beyond what doubt has whispered, you are genuinely otherworldly, not in some vague metaphorical sense, in real, tangible, spiritually verifiable fact. There's something about your composition that doesn't match ordinary patterns, something about your energy signature that registers differently, something about your presence that impacts environments in ways most people cannot achieve. This isn't arrogance, it's accuracy, and the sooner you accept it, the faster you can operate at the level you were created for. Stop trying to fit into containers designed for smaller beings. Stop apologizing for light that others find uncomfortable. Stop dimming yourself to make jealous people feel better about their own lack. Shine, fully, unapologetically, gloriously. Let them adjust their eyes or look away. Either option is fine. What's not acceptable anymore is you reducing yourself to protect fragile egos that were never going to celebrate you anyway. The people who tried to contain you now understand exactly what they were dealing with. They recognize that you were never the ordinary target they assumed. They see now that their spells bounced off shields they didn't know existed. They comprehend that you operate under protection their techniques cannot penetrate. And chosen one, this frightens them deeply, because it means you're untouchable in ways they never considered possible. It means their entire approach was flawed from the beginning. It means they wasted years of energy attacking someone they could never actually harm. That realization is haunting them, not just disappointing them, haunting them. They played a game they were certain they could win and discovered the rules didn't apply to you. They entered a battle they believed was weighted in their favor and watched you emerge without a single lasting wound. Remember that anime imagery one more time. The wide eyes at the beginning of our story, that same person is still frozen in that expression, but now you understand what they're seeing, not just your survival, your transformation, your ascension, your becoming the very thing they thought they could prevent. That light bursting forth from you, it's blinding them. That golden energy radiating from your being, it's exposing every shadow in their vicinity. That otherworldly power activating within you, it's announcing to every realm that you are not to be touched, not to be tested, not to be challenged by forces that should know better. Now they have to live with what they've done, with the karma they've accumulated, with the spiritual debt they've incurred, with the consequences that will follow them for the foreseeable future. While you walk free into blessings they tried to block, this is your moment, not because everything suddenly became easy, because you've proven you can handle what's hard, because you've demonstrated that pressure doesn't break you, it reveals your diamond nature, because you've shown the universe that you're ready for everything it's been preparing in your name. Receive what's coming without guilt. Accept abundance without apology. Embrace elevation without constantly looking over your shoulder for approval from those who never wanted you elevated anyway. The golden chapter is open. Legacy is being transferred. Protection remains active. And your adversaries finally understand they were never dealing with just another person. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your destiny engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. They were dealing with you, otherworldly, mystical, chosen, and completely unstoppable. Let them be frightened. Fear is an appropriate response when you've attacked something you never should have touched, when you've tried to extinguish light that was never yours to blow out, when you've attempted to steal blessing that was always going to find its rightful owner. Meanwhile, you keep walking, keep shining, keep rising, keep being everything they tried to prevent you from becoming. Because that's what chosen ones do. That's who you are. And nothing in this realm or any other can change that fundamental truth. The eyes that went wide with horror at the beginning of this message, they're still wide, still staring at something they cannot comprehend, still processing a reality that breaks everything they thought they knew, still frozen in that anime moment of terrible realization. But your eyes should be fixed forward, on the golden path stretching before you, on the legacy waiting to be claimed, on the future that refused to let anyone steal it from your hands. The burst of light that terrified them is the same light that illuminates your way forward. The power that overwhelmed their schemes is the same power that will carry you into your next season. The otherworldly nature that they never should have provoked is the same nature that makes miracles possible in your life. Walk toward it. It's been waiting for you. And chosen one, you've finally arrived at the moment when nothing stands between you and everything that's yours. Nothing at all. Not their schemes, not their jealousy, not their spiritual warfare, not their obsessive comparison, not their borrowed magic, not their desperate attempts at binding what was always meant to be free. All of that has collapsed. All of that has returned to sender. All of that has become their burden to carry while you walk lighter than you have in years. And somewhere right now, in this very moment as you receive these words, someone sits with wide eyes and shaking hands, confronting the reality that they tried to conquer something that was never conquerable, tried to contain energy that was never containable, tried to steal light that will always find its way back to its source, golden, chosen, mystical, otherworldly. That's you. That's always been you. And now even your enemies know it. Let them be frightened. You've got a destiny to walk into.